Hi, I'm Sharon Danley. I'm retired from business, but certainly not from my advocacy work. Approximately 38 years ago, I was sexually assaulted by Dr. Hugh Cameron, head of pediatrics at East General Hospital, and my son, who was in cardiac distress, who was 2.5 years old, was in my arms at the time. It is now 2015 and nothing much has changed. In preparing for my presentation for the 2015 task force, that's the third one I've presented to, I came across this tape that Roche had produced for upcoming medical students at the College of Physicians and Surgeons to make everybody just a little bit more aware of what goes on with a victim. This is my story from 1991. It shows how raw, how assaulting, how brutalized I was, and that was just within the first 6 months of a 4-year ordeal. So, here we go.
The College of Physicians and Surgeons has taken a leadership position to address the issue of sexual abuse by their members. Presently, the college is attempting to train prosecutors and other staff involved with sexual abuse cases. Sharon has been a victim of this abuse. Sharon has been through the complaints process and went through the discipline process. Sharon, I recall you talking time and time again about your experience of being re-victimized by the process. Is that something you can bring to this discussion at all?
Re-victimization is, I've had to relive this over and over again. The first assault took about, I don't know, maybe 6 to 10 seconds. This has taken more than 6 months. And in that whole time, I've been living that hell and trying to function as a mother, trying to work, trying to keep friendships going. I've developed anxiety seizures as a result of the hearings. I'm finding that I have scrambled thinking. I break down crying sometimes uncontrollably at the most inappropriate times. I can't sing anymore, and that's one of the vocations I have, because in order to do it properly, I need to be able to call on my healthy emotions, and they're not in a healthy state. I cry too easily, and it just doesn't, it's no good. Re-victimizing. My children have also been victimized through this, the secondary victims. They've lived watching their mother be traumatized through a system that purports to be compassionate and caring. And they sit on the sidelines watching the brutalizing that's been going on, and as youths, their hands are tied, and they feel the frustrations of that too. Other victims, I don't know how I can count the ways. I've had friendships of 20 years are gone. People find this difficult to deal with as well. My family of origin has been brought into this because my psychiatric records were inappropriately disclosed. My daughter's history has been mentioned, which is again an absolute violation and intrusion into her life. These people had nothing to do with the assault that Dr. Cameron did on me. Only Dr. Cameron. We've not looked into his history or questioned his psychiatric wellness. We've only done it with me. I don't know how I can tell you any more than have you try to imagine yourselves in the similar position that I am and possibly try to feel the pain. Think of your own histories, your own pasts. Would you want any of your stuff disclosed? I think not.
Sharon, I hear you talking about your pain. How do you think the college could have supported you differently throughout this process?
Well, they could have told me the truth. They purported that they would be compassionate and caring. And I believe that they think they are, but they are far from it. They don't understand revictimization. They don't understand incest survivorship. They don't understand callously having to relive that through brutalizing cross-examination by defense counsels. And it seems to me, it's not even so much that they don't understand, but I sense a militancy not to become more educated, because if we do, then we have to act responsibly, and I don't feel that responsible action is being taken. They say they support, but when I'm asked who my incest perpetrator is in front of a room full of people, when I'm asked about my daughter's history that I still believe is inappropriate even for me to mention publicly, surely to God, with their education and their supposed need to care for humanity, they could see through this? Could they even think about standing in the shoes of a complainant for a little while to try to possibly understand the feelings? It's the gross, militant, uneducated aura that I feel that enrages me now.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a support person in place for you at the college?
I was assigned a support person, Roz. I wasn't asked. This being the only time that I've gone through the college, I was naively trusting in everything that was told me. I was assigned a person. I have every reason to believe that this person has not walked the same walk I have. Therefore, it's impossible for this person to understand the feelings. And secondly, this person is hired by the college, is a college employee. So how can this person be totally there for my needs and support? Mm-hmm. There's a conflict that doesn't work.
How would you have liked to see it done differently?
I would have liked to have been asked if I had a particular support person that I could bring along outside of the system, and or given a list of people that would be available as a support person. I would have liked to have been asked what my choice in prosecution would be. Again, I was assigned a prosecutor. No one asked me if I had had dealings with this particular law firm before or not. It was assumed. Everything is assumed. Everything is taken out of the hands of the complainant, and you are made to feel even far less power. When I say powerful, I mean empowered. The reason I was able to come to the college in the first place to lodge a complaint was because I had a sense of empowerment. Well, that has been slowly stripped away every week, every month since I started this thing. I've been stripped. I started off as a survivor seeking redress, not to kill, not to castrate, but seeking redress to add to my empowerment. And what's happened is I've now become a victim, and I have to work very hard to get back to my survivorship state. That's very irresponsible, and to me it's a betrayal, and I was lied to.
Can you say more on that? You were lied to.
I was lied to. When I was told they would take care, they didn't. When I most vehemently protested that my psychiatric history had nothing to do with Dr. Cameron's assault on me, I was assured that even though they had subpoenaed my records, they would take utmost care in excising those records and only leave in information regarding the doctor's assault on me. When I began to read the edited records, by the way, edited by the very tribunal that's trying my case, I was so sick at what I saw, I vomited. That day and that night, I was scared. I was being betrayed. I was scared. They left in information about my family history, about my present family, about messages and things that had nothing to do with what Dr. Cameron did to me. I firmly believe that defense counsel's main thrust of defense, because that's all he can probably find, is because I'm an incest survivor, and I naively put that in my formal letter of complaint. Because I'm an incest survivor, I probably don't know the difference between a sympathetic touch and a sexual aggression. How dare anybody assume anything like that? Rage, anger, I can't tell you, Roz, the rage I feel towards the law and the legal system, and the college allowing the legal system to do what it did to me.
It sounds as if you were pretty alone throughout this process. Is there anyone at the college who you felt was understanding and supportive to you as a complainant?
On the surface, and in an overt way, maybe, but there was all kinds of covert feelings. I didn't feel that anybody was really there for me. At the beginning, I thought that this was going to be that way. But as time marched on, it became increasingly apparent that this was not so. This was not so.
I imagine the layout of the hearing room was also difficult for you. Can you say something on this?
Difficult. It is not at all a safe environment for a complainant who has a complaint of sexual abuse in any form. 15 years it had been since I'd seen my perpetrator, and I saw him that day. And when I was in the witness chair, as defense counsel was grilling me, I had to look directly. When I looked directly at defense counsel, in my direct peripheral vision was my assaulter. I had to look at his face. As the defense counsel asked me how long I thought his hands were on my breast. Where was it? His right hand? Was it his left hand? Did he touch any other part of your body? And all those kinds of questions. And I'm looking at the man who assaulted me in the first place, and I'm having to answer these questions. I'm sitting alone in the witness chair. The tribunal sets itself completely apart from the rest of the hearings in a very hierarchical position, unapproachable. There is definitely a feeling of formality, nothing that's comfortable at all. The gallery, when the person is in the witness chair, anybody who's come to support is behind me. So when I'm being grilled, I can't see anybody except my assaulter's face when I'm being grilled. Any support I have is behind me. I need it while I'm being asked. In fact, I shouldn't even be asked the terrorizing questions I was asked. The room is sterile, it's cold, and it's uninviting. It's scary enough to talk about what's happened. It's hard enough to look at your perpetrator, and it's even more difficult to be separated from those who purport to care and help you, but then not to have my own support in vision. It's unconscionable.
Sharon, so often I hear people say that filing a complaint to the College of Physicians and Surgeons is the beginning of a healing process.
Oh.
Have you experienced any healing throughout this process?
As I said, when I came originally and lodged my formal letter of complaint, I was doing that from a place of healing, of having felt like I had healed a tremendous amount to even have the courage to come forward. I lost all of that. I lost it all. And now I am spending time and have to continue to work to become healed one more time and to become a strong survivor again. But each time it gets harder and the road gets longer. And I'm a pretty
very strong woman. I've survived this far, but I know women who just couldn't go through this, and there's no way I would let my daughter. There was no way I would let my mother. I wouldn't let one of my friends go through this.
What kind of preparation would you give to someone who is preparing herself to go through this process? What would you say to a complainant who is getting ready to file a complaint to the College of Physicians and Surgeons?
Today, I would say, come to a survivor's arena where you can get help. Myself and another woman have founded a group called the Survivors of Medical Abuse. And what we advise people to do is to lodge the complaint, but with all of us helping. But don't, under any circumstances, go through the complaints process. Not now. And even if you are strong and you have emotional support in place, you are financially unencumbered, you have a family around you that is supportive and caring, even then, I can't tell you the toll that it takes on you. And if you don't have those things in place, you'll die from it, emotionally die from it, so don't do it.
Sharon, is there anything you can say to the College of Physicians and Surgeons today that would be helpful for the training of prosecutors?
Helpful for the training of prosecutors. Imagine that it's your mother that you're prosecuting. Imagine that it's your 10-year-old sister defense counsels that you're brutalizing. Imagine it's a dear friend. Imagine it's your grandmother. If you have any creativity, any moral fiber in you, allow those feelings and those imaginations to help guide you. It's too cold, too sterile, and we abuse our legal system. We hide behind it. We use every tactic possible and stretch it as far as it will go under the guise of the law.
So you are simply saying to be sensitive to the complainant's pain and suffering?
Yes.
And to understand how this type of abusive behavior can impact on the complainant.
Yes. There's films available. The Boys of St. Vincent I would highly recommend. There's all kinds of literature. There are all kinds of women's groups who are more than willing to help, to talk, to help guide. Make use of these things, please. Or don't do what you're doing. Just don't do it.
We are almost at the end of our discussion, Sharon, and I know I've spent a lot of time listening to your cries and your pains, your difficulties and your suffering, and you are truly struggling to come to grips with what you have been through. We are almost about to end, but before we do, I want to give you an opportunity to say anything that you would like to say for you.
For
right
me?
now.
Help me. Help me make amends to what you've done. Take out information in the transcripts that doesn't belong. You've not only violated me, you've violated my family. Please do the right thing and take it out. I want a public apology. I want somebody to say, I'm sorry for what we put you through. I need that validation. I need to recover in my own way, the way that I know works for me. I need help. I need help to recover. I need monetary help. I need emotional help. And please, please look at what you're doing. Please, and if you can't do it with any more compassion, then don't be self-governing. Turn it over to a body who can be far more caring and do a much better job.
Sharon has recently been through the discipline process at the College of Physicians and Surgeons, and to date, it has been 3 months since she's been awaiting the verdict. I thank you, Sharon, for sharing your pain with me and for taking this risky position to speak on this tape in front of this camera.
Thank you for your work, Roz.